The dog gathered.
Okay.
We'll just do a quick.
We'll wear my Christmas toque.
Okay. We'll do a quick little, everybody, like this.
Fold it up. Yep. Yeah.
Hi. You get licked.
Someone gets to wear their hat too, right over their eyeball.
This. Oh, sorry.
I'm gonna go sideways. Oh, someone doesn't like their hat over their eyeball.
Not that much.
There. Go sideways.
Okay. Hey, Cookie. Cookie. Here. Okay, just smile and look up at that camera there.
Got it.
Okay. Cookie, you have to cooperate. All right.
Okay, so somewhere in there would be a Christmas photo.
Yes. Okay. Now, so whenever you're ready, we can like officially start.
Okay, well now just to be compliant, I'll switch hats.
Okay. You don't have to be compliant, but okay.
How's this thing work?
Just put it on.
Yeah.
You're such a good sport.
Nope, this way.
Hang on, Cook. Okay, you can say you start whatever you want.
Oh,
Yeah.
I can start.
Yeah.
Okay. You're laughing too much.
Just fun.
Okay. Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Angie.
And together
this
we...
is Cookie, sorry. Okay, we'll do it again.
One more time.
Sure.
Well rehearsed as per normal.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Angie.
And together...
We are not ready.
Still not ready.
Okay. We'll get it. Okay.
I'll not do it wrong this time.
Did you do it wrong?
Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Angie. And together...
We have a dog.
named Cookie.
I thought you were going to introduce Cookie.
I was, but I'm trying not to screw you up.
Okay.
Okay, one more time.
Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Angie.
The dog!
It's Cookie! And together we are TwinFinity and Cookie. We are here with a Christmas question and answer video. And of course, Cookie had to be part of our family Christmas photo. And Rob is being incredibly generous and kind to participate because this is not his thing. He hates this. And so does Cookie. So we're going to rescue her. You can run free now.
Yeah.
Yes, for those of you that love Cookie, there's your probably one and only chance to see her tonight. After this, she might not come back.
I was going to say that this was a Christmas cookie.
Your Christmas cookie. Yes, there's your Christmas cookie. She's sweet and yummy and cute. She's a black and white Christmas cookie. So, we are here to do a Christmas and a solstice question and answer video. Not that the questions relate to Christmas or solstice, but that's the theme because it's the time of year.
It's the time it is. Time of year it is. It's short days and
yes.
Near Christmas time.
And we decided for something different, we would do it in front of our Christmas tree.
Yes, this Christmas tree that I did not participate in decorating whatsoever. Angie did all the work and it is the best ever. So maybe there's a hint in there. Maybe I just need to hide next time it's time to do the tree.
It's okay. It was fun. Of course, it's pink. Well, I mean, is there any other way to do a tree?
And it's got an angel on top.
That's right. Next year, if all goes well, it's going to be rainbow. That's my dream for next year, my plan. We'll see how it turns out.
And if I have my way, now this is going to be real funny because Angie has no idea what I'm going to say, and even further yet, not a chance of understanding what I mean.
Okay, now I'm scared.
Next year, the tree should have M&Ms on it. We're all going to have to wait a whole year for this.
M&Ms?
Yep.
Like the candy M&Ms?
Yep.
Do I get to eat them?
No.
Oh. Why would it have M&Ms?
Next year.
It'll have M&Ms and rainbow hearts?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, stay tuned for your next Christmas. Oh, Cookie's over there wallowing now.
Yeah.
Oh, is this that tragic of a life? Okay, come here.
No, you need the dog over there. She's just going to wallow. It's entertaining when the dog wallows. Because it usually means she's not getting enough of the attention that she wants. As opposed to the attention that she gets, like hats and being held.
That's right. Against her will. So our goal is to do 2 question and answer videos this month before the end of December because we are a little bit behind and we're very sorry. We want to get a little caught up so your questions aren't so far away from when you ask them. Like this one is.
So, because we didn't rehearse, I have to ask a question. Where am I starting?
Right down here.
That one.
Yeah.
Because we.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I put a little line. Exactly. And we'll get to see how far away this question is because they actually talk about which video they're relating the question to.
Does it wrap around to the next page?
It does not.
Okay. I still want to refer to one question along the way that we weren't planning on referring to.
Okay.
It'll be one of those ones where we let everybody else answer it.
Okay.
Because I don't know.
Adventure always.
Yeah.
You look very cute, by the way.
Thanks. Does the hat clash
I'm
with my
surprised you're
orange?
leaving it on. I thought it would be whipped off by now.
I will admit my head's getting warm.
You can take it off whenever you want.
If I start to sweat.
You need not be tortured if it's too much.
I put on a blue shirt over top of my nice warm sweatshirt.
And I was actually going to change. I was already wearing a pink shirt today, and I was like, oh, for God's sakes, all I ever wear in videos is pink. And I was going to change, but then I didn't.
I read the weather
It's
forecast.
just me. It's pink all the time. What can I say?
We need sweaters.
Okay.
Next 9 days. When it comes to Fahrenheit, in probably about 36 hours, we're going to drop off the edge of the world and not get above 0 Fahrenheit for about 9 days. Brr.
Okay.
Anyway, question?
Yes.
Okay.
We have a lot to try and cover, so.
Oh, yes, and it's also about an hour and a half later than we would normally start, so we had to hide our phones so that our bedtime alarms would not go off. We're so responsible that we have to set bedtime alarms so that we stop and go to bed.
Yes. Otherwise, we just keep doing. When you're task-oriented people, you just keep doing stuff. Okay.
Okay. Right.
It's going to be an interesting night. Oh dear.
We can't even get started. I can't even get started.
Should I read the question?
No.
This one's for me anyway.
Okay. I was so emotional when I heard Angie talking about being mean with your twin. And that's in regards to our August Q&A.
This is what I mean.
Yeah.
We're a little behind.
Especially as a runner, I'm doing the same thing with my twin, and I regret all what I've been saying to him, and he's still being nice to me.
Yeah.
I just want to know if there's any solution to this. I want to stop insulting him and being mean with him.
So as a runner in the past, and in the very far past, and in the not so far past, and as the one that, yes, was very mean to Rob, I can certainly give you some advice on this. First of all, I'll explain what my issues were, and that might help you kind of, delve into your own stuff. For me, there was 2 reasons I was mean to Rob. One was because I didn't know I was a highly sensitive person. I didn't know that I got overstimulated and overwhelmed very easily. And Rob has a very big energy, which can be very overwhelming and overstimulating. So the only way I knew how to cope was to push him away because I didn't have skills back then to say, this is what I'm feeling, this is what I need. Now I have those skills. What? That was creative. Our dog just climbed under a table. She had to go right on her belly to do it. It was kind of funny.
We've never seen that before.
We have not. We've never blocked the aisleway for her to get past, I guess. Okay, sorry for the distraction.
Boy, we are way off base tonight.
Okay, so I would get mean as a way to push him away because I didn't know any other skills. I didn't have, proper verbal skills to say, I'm feeling overwhelmed, because I didn't even know I was feeling overwhelmed. I was so disconnected from myself, I didn't know what was going on within me. And now, Rob's still the same extremely lovey person. I'll get 15 hugs in a day sometimes, if not 25. And sometimes it's still overwhelming. But now I can go, okay, I appreciate your love and thank you, but I've had enough. My cup is full. I'm overstimulated. And now I know how to communicate that. So I don't have to get mean. The other reason I used to get very mean is because my fear would just grab hold of me so tightly, because the love of somebody, when you're not used to love, when you're used to love being equated to getting hurt, for most of us who have had trauma in our lives, we associate somebody getting close to us with being hurt. So as soon as somebody starts to get close and they kind of penetrate those walls we've built up, we get mean as a way to push them away, and that puts up those walls again. And that's exactly what I did, because I was so afraid of him getting too close to me and hurting me. Not that he did hurt me, but I was afraid that he would, because my whole life had been people get close to you, people hurt you. So again, not being aware of what was going on, I would push him away when things got too close, things got too intense, things got too emotionally vulnerable for me. The word vulnerable was a word that was like terrifying for me. I did not like to be vulnerable. So for you, start to examine what it is that's being triggered, what's happening for you. And then that'll clue you in to what's going on. And the more you learn about you, the more you can then communicate with your twin and say, this is what I'm feeling. This is why I'm acting the way that I'm acting. And then you can start remedying it. When Rob and I were coming back into union, I was able to then do that because I had years of experience and learning and growth in myself. I was able to then communicate and go, okay, I'm getting scared and this is what's happening and I'm going to pull away. And so I was able to warn him. Instead of just being mean, I'd go, I need to distance myself a bit. So just a lot of introspection, whether that's journaling, meditating, therapy, talking to a friend, however it works for you. Start delving into yourself and start looking into your childhood, researching, where did this come from? Why, how did I ever develop this in the first place? And that will help you understand more. You keep looking like you have something to say. Oh, wise guru.
I do have something to say, but I was waiting for you to finish because it was making a ton of sense. I had about 4 points that I wanted to spew out. Now I'm down to about 1.
Okay.
I would say that if you are aware that you are hurting your twin and you've got a bit of a mean streak on the go, I don't know if I'd wait until you've mostly figured it out yourself before talking to your twin about that. I would almost include the twin right off the get-go of realization of the awareness that they're, and you might just be able to simplify it by saying that you're being really moody and that it's something about the relationship that triggers this. But I don't think there's any harm in saying that you don't understand what it's about and that there could be a lot of work to go.
Yeah.
There's so many times that we say you've got to work on yourself, but sometimes it might be nice to have somebody to work on something with, someone who can give you clues that you can't see yourself because they're seeing it from a different point of view. Whether it's just recognition of when you're being mean, because you might not recognize it all the time, or maybe it's getting clues and hints as to help get down the road of healing faster. So I'd say include them right off the bat. As opposed to having them just being victims to the meanness, they can also maybe contribute to being part of the solution.
Yeah.
And
good point.
it's probably going to be very eye-opening for them, because if, as part of their lifetime of damage, they respond to things by being over-smothering, they might also go down a learning curve of their own, not to give so much energy that it becomes overwhelming to somebody else. I would think that both of you would have something to learn from that.
Yeah.
At the same time, even if it's completely different lessons. So, yeah, I'd say communicate much sooner than later.
And I know that just even communicating, what's going on or what's happening for you is vulnerable. That's what's scary, but that's part of the growth, right? If you can take that leap and be honest with them, like Rob says, that's part of stepping forward into healing it. I know it's scary being vulnerable. It's still scary for me sometimes, but you can't move forward if you're not willing to take some of those leaps sometimes. So, yeah.
I don't think I have anything else on this. It's a very subjective topic because it is so different for everybody.
Common, though. It's common. And
common result. The meanness is the common result.
Yes.
The triggers are...
Yes, that's what's different.
You could just spew out triggers all night.
Yeah.
And then people would give you another 20 more.
Okay, you're off the hook sort of again. This is another one for me.
Yeah, it starts with the word Angie.
It's like Christmas. I get all the gifts.
Angie, how do you handle working in different jobs and being separate during the day? Is there a pull when you are with other people? Thank you.
There used to be. Luckily, when you've been in union for a while, you develop some routines, and so okay, they're coming home in the evening, so it's fine. So first of all, I kind of answered the second part first. How do you handle working in different jobs?
Being separate during the day.
I think what they mean is both of us working.
Yeah.
I first interpret it because I have multiple jobs.
But
I have like my main job and my bookkeeping job and like other things.
As I read the question, I thought it was you and I in separate jobs.
Yes, and I think
hi,
that's more what they mean.
It's 6:30 in the morning. Bye. I'm not going to see you again until possibly even 5 or 5:30 at night.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
how do you handle
before it was even worse because when you were in management, it was like 8:30 at night.
Yeah.
It was like long days.
12, 13, 14 hours.
Yes. It was very hard in the beginning. Remember when that magnet was so strong? God, it was so hard to like separate in the mornings. And we used to even joke that we'd like say goodbye and then all of a sudden we were like this again. And I was like, oh, that damn magnet! And then we'd pull apart and then we'd be back together. And it was so funny because it literally felt like a magnet was like pulling us back together.
And it's really hard to not be late for work when you're fighting magnetism.
Totally. I think there was times even we would like spend too much time in bed, and I don't mean intimately, but just
not getting up and having breakfast and brushing your teeth and getting on the road.
Yeah, because the magnet, that damn magnet.
Yeah, when you're having a zipper snuggle, unzipped. Yeah.
And if you don't know our term for that, what that means is when you're like you melt together and you don't know whose body's who anymore. You all just feel like one glom of
humanness.
Energy, humanness together. But it gets easier over time because, as I say, you develop a routine. You know they're going to be home at this certain time. The only time it's still a little struggle for me is like this past summer. Rob did way more mountain climbing than I did because I was really struggling with sleep and stuff in the summertime. So I didn't do a lot of mountain stuff. And there was days like you were gone at 4 you'd leave at like 4 in the morning.
Wouldn't be home until 6 or 7 at night.
Yeah. Those days, I did really miss him. And I would have to tell myself, like, he's just gone to the mountains. He's coming home. But I've also noticed, too, it's almost like, how people have described, like, you're attached, right? You have a cord attaching you, and it just keeps stretching. I can feel when that cord is stretched further than I like it. Like, when we go to work, the cord has lots of room for stretching.
Yep.
Like, when Rob's in the city and we're not together, it's fine. But if he goes to the mountains, that feels like that's too far away.
The cord becomes a thin piece of fishing line.
Yeah, and it's different. It's definitely different. And we've had it in the past where one of us has gone on a holiday while the other one has stayed home because of work situations and stuff. That is hard too.
Yeah, I remember when you went down to Utah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was just meh.
Yes, that was very hard. Yeah, but the telepathy, then you get to practice your telepathy more. So how do you handle it? You just do, because nothing else to do. But as I say, it does get easier with regular routines and stuff.
Now, I'd like to answer this a little bit differently. 11:11 and 1:11.
Yes.
There's something to be looking forward to in that.
Yes,
At 11:11 in the morning and 1:11 in the afternoon, if we're available, we'll just blast a text back and forth, just acknowledging that those two times have happened. And there's a bit of anticipation in that. When I'm working away on something that I'm not near a clock, I am sometimes looking over my shoulder, wondering what time it is, and if I can conveniently find my way back to my cell phone in time to send one of those texts, it feels really good. So
Yeah.
there is those two times of anticipation, one late morning and one early afternoon, that help bridge that connection gap. Because when we send those texts, it's nice to have that
It's
connection.
like a little reconnection.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. So
Yeah.
if it's so easy to do. So if you're having those problems with feeling disconnected, yeah, just set aside one of those. It doesn't take much to reconnect.
Yep. Just even a thought. Totally.
Anything else?
No. Mm-hmm. Sounds sad. Was I supposed to have something else?
No,
Oh.
but I was also just thinking too, there's a lot of the days Angie gets home way before I do.
Yes, I do.
And sometimes I'm looking at the clock at work going, oh, Angie's already at home. And I feel good about that.
Oh, that's nice.
I do. I'm not jealous. It's just the thought that her day's over and she's at home having a chance to chill out or do what she wants and not have me bugging her. Because I like to bug her.
As per the first question.
So, yeah, sometimes I feel quite good knowing that she's had a chance to
Decompress all by myself. Do
And-
my puzzle on the floor over there.
And then a text will come through with some form of, the day isn't going all that good, and then I realize that it's still good that I'm not home. Just simply because then she's got a chance to calm down before I really do get home.
There we go.
But it's still all energy exchange.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally. Okay.
Okay, next question.
Yeah.
I haven't heard from my TF since the big separation happened. How many different definitions is there of a big separation?
Totally, and I'm not laughing out of like to be discompassionate, but it's just because they worded that so perfectly
It
that
is.
everybody can relate to.
The big separation.
Like
There's
everybody can define what that means in
Yeah.
their own situation.
oh, that one.
Yeah.
Going through the big 5D Deve and it's not in Dallas? Yeah, okay. There's a country song buried in there somewhere.
Oh dear. Okay, carry on.
He just vanished without saying anything. How can I keep myself 4-5D? I feel like I'm in all three dimensions, up and down. That's not a bad thing.
Yes.
Because I can't stop thinking about him. But I'm always happy, not bothered, and okay with the situation. But I can't help myself sometimes longing for him. I then try to focus on something else. I'm a bit disappointed. I thought he would have contacted me by now. All he has done is to drive by me with his car a few times a week, just to get a glimpse. That's something.
That is something. Yeah.
How do I move on to 5D and keep my light?
Do you want to go first on that? Or do you want me to?
I'd like you to try to go first on that because I have got so many thoughts I might not ever get past this question.
Okay. So the first answer that I have is you don't have to stay in 5D all the time. You're a human being. Like, yes, you're a spiritual being, but you're having a human experience. So allow yourself to have the human experience. I'm not in 5D all the time. Trust me.
Nor am I.
Just because you're in union or even trying to be in union energetically, it doesn't mean you're in 5D all the time. We can't be. I think even the biggest gurus out there probably aren't in 5D all the time. It's just part of being human. So allow yourself to be where you are. It doesn't mean you stay there and you wallow in it, of course not. But if you're going to have down feelings and down times and 3D moments, and that's okay. Honor those. Instead of forcing yourself to be where you're not, as the quote that Rob taught me a long time ago is, be where your feet are and be where your emotions are. So if your emotions are in 3D, that's okay. That's part of the experience. You can't get to 5D without being in 4D and 3D. So just be where you are. Be gentle with yourself.
As part of balance, bouncing back and forth between 3D, 4D, and 5D helps keep a person in perspective, because sometimes it's just like having different ways of looking at different things. And if you're in one dimension all the time, any of the dimensions, then you tend to only see what you're experiencing and feel what you're experiencing from that one point of view. So to be up and down between the dimensions is, I think, quite healthy.
Totally.
Now, to be able to reach into the dimension that you're least skilled at or wanting to work at more, and being able to go in there and stay there and play around more, and again, any of those dimensions can be the one that needs the most work. That's also very much part of what growth is. So if you've lost a dimension because of a loss of connection, it's probably best to accept that that is a challenge and then let yourself grow back that direction instead of trying to drag yourself kicking and screaming there, or being so concerned that all of a sudden you're not feeling very much in 5D anymore. So now I have to totally try to get back there at the cost of any 4D or 3D lessons that are coming your direction. If 5D isn't where you can't be at, there's lots of room to play in 4D especially. 3D, well, okay. Most of us have got that one. Except for the people that live in 4 and 5D so much that they forget to eat or forget to go to work or forget the value of money or all those other things that tend to trip a person up in 3D.
Yeah. Over time, you get better at when you do, I'll say fall, that might not be the most appropriate word, but fall back into 3D, for example, or fall back into being triggered or being sad or being down. It gets quicker and quicker to bounce back. The more practice you have, the more quick you can heal or not even heal, but release those triggers and move back into the 5D experience. But to force yourself to stay there all the time is, in my opinion, pretty darn impossible. And I don't think we're here as humans to even do that. So yeah, just learn to bounce between them quicker, but honor wherever you're at when you're there.
I don't have the words to say what I want to say, but I'm going to try to wing it anyway. Oftentimes, the 3-dimension portion of who you are is your starting point. Most of us started from 3D and found 4D and then found 5D above that and anything else further that some terribly gifted and talented people can find. But 3D often is your starting point, therefore your mirror.
Mm.
So as much as a person can be a mirror, a situation can be a mirror, the third dimension is being the foundation of your experiences is likely your own personal little mirror. And to go back in there and be able to tweak and reset your mirror so that it can get you a little bit of a different reflection next time you see what's in the mirror from a fourth or fifth dimension point of view, is another way that you can grow. You can see things differently. But you need to go back into the third dimension to actually be able to tweak your own mirror. You've got to go back to it to help it learn and reflect a little differently.
That's a great way to put it. I like that.
So if you're spending a lot of time in 3D, you're probably also adjusting your mirror, your internal mirror.
My leg's going numb already.
Oh, I've already had to move my ankle a couple of times. We're more or less sitting on the floor. So, and of course, floors are not usually king-size mattress comfortable. Usually there's a little bit of a towel or a couple of cushions or something to make it comfy.
Yes. All right,
So,
next question.
No.
Oh, you're not there yet?
But the person's always happy, but not bothered, but still okay with their situation. Sometimes they find themselves longing for him. That's fine.
Totally fine.
Missing someone? No, that probably means you care. That's anything that's worth the energy is worth the response. Boy, you need to move your foot again.
You can come this way, you know. See, look at that. You don't have to go underneath
don't have to
the
go.
whole table.
Wow.
You silly dog.
Also, thinking that he would have contacted you by now, but all he's done is drive by with his car a few times a week. Wow, someone who finds the connection maybe so overwhelming, but still so necessary that they have to drive by a few times a week. That might not be contact directly with you, but that is certainly a sign that they value what is bouncing around in their mind because they keep giving it that energy. That is all sorts of what I would call good positive contact without it being direct. It's very passive. They're thinking of you. That's where you can reach out and try to do your feeling in your fourth and fifth dimension to try to feel what keeps on going through their mind that draws them back enough. Yeah, that cord is nowhere near being cut. So, yeah, that's very encouraging. Not necessarily for the chance of being of getting into union anytime soon, but yeah, how many people would love it if they knew that their twin thought of them that often?
That they were driving by their house.
They're driving by their house.
Totally.
That's hugely positive.
Yeah.
They're working on stuff. Let them keep working. Because eventually there'll be enough curiosity to be back in touch. I could almost guarantee that without a time frame. That we can never put our finger on.
Of course, yes.
How do I move on to 5D and keep my light? Don't worry about the fifth dimension. It sounds like you've kept your light. You've got your curiosity, still your own personal curiosity for the fourth and fifth dimension. And you wouldn't disappoint yourself by sabotaging that. So by not disappointing yourself, you've stayed in your light.
Nice way to put it.
Yes. So I knew I had lots of thoughts. Loved the question. Good one. Okay, next question?
Yep.
Now we're ready for the next question.
Now we are.
Angie and Rob. That's
That'd be
us.
us.
That's us.
That would be.
How did you know you were really missing each other and not just obsessed or had an attachment with each other? Did you both think of each other while apart and in other relationships? If you can shed some light on this missing your twin flame bit, I'd be greatly appreciated. We are in separation over 2 months, and it's difficult at times. Probably difficult most times. I usually get a bad bout of missing that seems to come out of nowhere every 10 days, but daily I think of him. He was the one that left to concentrate on his relationship. It makes you wonder if it's real, but my gut says it is. Been on the journey almost 4 years. Thanks so much to both of you. You're welcome. Okay, did you know you were really missing each other and not just obsessed or had an attachment with each other?
Not that we had definitions for that back then,
No.
because there wasn't any twin flame information out there for us to understand obsession versus anything else.
It's still hard to define that.
But I know for me, even like way back when we first broke up in 1998 and stuff, when I would try and let you go. And then everybody that was in my life was a Rob. And then every song was Trust Me, This Is Love by Amanda Marshall. Like everything. I mean, I was doing my part to let go. And the universe was shoving them back in my face constantly. So I guess even back then I knew it was more than just me. I mean, I'd been in one other relationship before and I was able to let that person go, even though they were a Rob too.
I was the Rob too.
That's right, you were Rob too. They were Rob 1.
I'm being so bad tonight.
Yes, you are. So I knew there was something different, something unique, something weird that was more than just obsession or insecurity or codependence, all of that kind of stuff.
I don't get too hung up on the definitions of the words, especially obsessed, because this connection, the twin flame connection, is so absorbing, is so overwhelming. Sure, it's going to mimic obsession if it isn't obsession anyway. But having had a few more relationships than what Angie has had.
Yes. Your extra 10 years over me has helped that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Continuing on, all these extra relationships gave me a benchmark. You know, I would miss some people a lot. I'd miss them a moderate amount. Some people I didn't miss at all. And then there was this relationship with Angie that was just not like the rest. Angie wasn't there when we were apart, of course, but it hurt more, it felt more, it was more in my conscience. And it just wouldn't leave me alone. So if someone would have called it obsession, I would have said sure. If someone would have defined twin flames long before Angie did to me, I would have probably gone with it. I just knew it was something that was far more overwhelming than normal, and it seemed to be me that wasn't letting go. So yeah, I'm okay with the word obsession, because if it's not obsession but acts like one, then it seems to be like one, and it's the word that comes out, all good.
But I think most people are concerned that obsession is more ego than it is like a genuine
Connection.
Deep connection. Yes.
Yeah, I would have to dwell on that for a while.
See, and that's where I knew it wasn't just obsession, it was something stronger than that. Because I could let go of other people and it wasn't that hard. But you, even if I tried to let you go, the universe kept shoving you back at me. And I was like, enough, go away.
I didn't have the skills to understand ego versus not.
Agree.
When it came to relationships, especially back in our 1997 days, it just wasn't part of my skill sets. So I almost can't go back there and feel how much of it was connection versus ego. I certainly knew it was connection, but I don't know. Obsession being related to ego, that's fair. I just don't know how much it applied to me, so I can't really comment.
Okay. What's the other piece of that question?
They've been in separation over 2 months, and it is difficult at times. It's probably difficult a lot of the times. 2 months. Boy, at 2 months, I don't know. In comparison to what a lot of people have told us, the pain of the disconnection when it first happens hurts, and then it goes into a little bit of a numb phase. And then as time stretches on and maybe a little bit of separation anxiety or panic sets in, then it can actually hurt more at a bit of time after 2 months. I would say that at 2 months, you're still probably in a bit of shock that's still keeping some of the more difficult edge of separation from really shining through. Sorry, you might be at that point.
Well, and I liked how they also said, can you shed some light on missing your twin flame? And they're saying because it's difficult even after 2 months. And yes, that is where I think it's different with a twin flame or a soul connection, we'll say, for those that don't like the labels and stuff. When you have a deep connection with somebody, yes, the missing can go on. I mean, God, for us, it was years. Never mind months, it was years. And that's when you know there's something else there. When you can move on from another relationship, and of course you have, the tears and the sadness and the whatever, and then you get on with your life. But the twin flame, it's different. It just never quite goes away.
It's missing the get over it.
Yes.
Yeah,
the get over it never goes away. Or it gets over.
It never gets over.
No.
It just seems to run away and come back. Sort of like an annoying mosquito in the night. You bash it away and it just comes back.
Are you equating a twin flame to an annoying mosquito? Really?
Well, when you don't want to be having those feelings, it can be quite annoying.
Okay.
And that's when you need to have to start to learn how to live with them. Mosquitoes you don't have to live with. Eventually, if you catch it, it's okay.
Okay. What's the next part? Let's move on from mosquitoes. It makes me wonder if it's real, but my gut says it is. Being on the journey almost 4 years.
Well, trust your gut. Most people don't learn how to do that. I kind of congratulate you for that.
That's part of the journey, yeah.
That's
part of the journey is learning to trust your own gut, your own intuition.
To take your experiences enough to add them up to being something that you learn to have a little bit of faith in. Yeah. So if you're wondering if it's real, but your gut says it is, maybe just go with that and wait till maybe you get some evidence to the contrary, something that says that maybe it isn't real. But chances are you won't find it. It's when you've made the decision that you're a twin flame, there's times you can deny it, but it doesn't really ever go away from what we've been told.
I just want to change your words.
Okay.
Because you don't really make the decision to be a twin flame. You get the awareness that you're a twin flame.
There's still the decision.
The decision's already made for you.
There's still a decision point to accepting it.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
But you didn't make the decision to be a twin flame. Your soul chose that. Your human self, your ego self is like, I hate this. I wouldn't choose this. Why did I choose this? Who chose this? I didn't do it. That's what most of us go through.
Acceptance.
Yes, that's...
When you accept that you're a twin flame.
Thank you. I didn't mean to pick on your words, but...
It needed to be picked on.
Yeah. A lot of people be like, I didn't choose this!
It chose me.
That's right. Your soul chose it.
You chose it at one point.
You did. And if you're like me, you might want to go back and smack your soul once you go back to spirit. I used to say that. I'm going to kick my soul's bleep when I get back to spirit.
Glad you bleeped that.
I figured you would so much as well. All right. I'm trying to be a little bit of a taskmaster tonight because my goal is to get these last two answered.
3.
Oh, okay.
We debated on this next question, and we actually removed it from the list. And I'd like to just try it, but not really try it. The problem is the question is very, very simple. What is an earth angel? Where I have a problem with this question is there's been so much that I've learned, and I have that benchmark, much like that three-dimensional benchmark that I talked about earlier. I don't really have an answer to what is an earth angel because I've never really needed to know. So it's just something that I've just got a hole in my understandings. Somebody else could probably explain it far better.
Well, and I've even read Doreen Virtue's book about earth angels because I don't like to say this because then, you know, it sounds like ego, but I feel like I am one. I feel, and many of us are, quite frankly. A lot of us are, but a lot of us are many things. Like most of us have been in other planets and other star systems, and we've been in angelic realms, and that's why we connect with angels. They don't just live in our house at Christmas time. They're everywhere. My hat. But to put it in words, I can't really do that. I don't know. I should go get out Doreen Virtue's book and read it to you because that would answer it better. But you know what? For this person that asked this, you can also just Google it, and Google will probably give you way better answers than we could.
And if somebody really has a knock 'em dead answer that they believe in, share it.
Sure. If you can just whip it out with some good, simple answers, great.
I guess this is a fancy way of saying that once in a while we get a question that we just don't know how to answer because it's just not what we really know. But there's so much knowledge out there with you folks that...
Well, and as I say, if I could have spent the time and gotten the book that I've already read years ago and probably pulled out the one line, but I didn't.
This is where sometimes I'm at a disadvantage is all anything that I perceive I know has just come to me through various forms of experience. I read very little.
No, you read a lot, just not spiritual books per se, which is fine. That's just
the only thing I've really studied is trying to figure out all the different archangels that all the different styles of humanity like to study, and there's three. If
you saw the spreadsheets he made, I'm like, why are you doing this? It's cool, but what are you doing? He literally studies the angels. He knows more about the angels than I do, and I collect them, I love them, I communicate with them.
I thought I was just going to get a simple answer. Well, what is the 7 archangels? Well, by the time you get done with everybody's different 7 archangels, I've got a list of about 28 angels.
Oh, that's so funny.
3 or 4 of them are in common. The rest of them are all subject to interpretation.
And that's a whole other...
So when someone asks, what's an earth angel? My first thought was, subject to interpretation.
Yes, I'm sure there's many definitions.
Somebody's going to give me a definition.
Yeah, we'll let one of you throw it out there. Throw it in the comments.
There'll be a definition, and one of them I'm likely to really resonate with, and it'll probably become mine.
Okay.
Thanks for the help in advance. Next question.
Yeah. This one's a little bit longer.
Yes, it is. I first met my TF when we were in the 9th grade. We're always drawn to each other as teenagers, but I think because I experienced sexual trauma in middle school, I was totally closed off from the connection at the time and unwilling to, and also unprepared, to deal with it. He, however, always expressed an interest in me and pursued me while I ran. We reconnected this year at age 25, and suddenly I was completely awakened to the energy between us. Like fireworks suddenly went off in my brain.
Totally understand that description.
I'm wondering why I was never aware of what was going on between us before. Could it have been because I was so disconnected because of the abuse I suffered? Also, would you say that TFs who meet in childhood are more likely to reach union within this lifetime? Seems like it would be a very long, grueling road otherwise. We have been in separation for 6 months. Thanks. Lots of question there.
Only two, really, that I see.
Being totally closed off from the connection at the time, like 9th grade, and unprepared, unwilling to deal with it. How about incapable of dealing with it? You could have so many things that could be in the way of a person being able to understand that there's even a connection there.
Or, yes, so to answer your question of, I'm wondering why I was never aware of what was going on. Could it have been because I was so disconnected because of the abuse I suffered? Yes, it could be. But it also could just be that you didn't activate each other back then in the same way that you did recently. As twin flames, when we connect, we activate each other. And just because you meet in, a long time ago, it doesn't mean you're going to have the activation back then, especially when you're younger. You might not activate each other until years later. So it could be the trauma, definitely, but it could also just be it wasn't divine time for you to be awakened to the connection.
Experience. Boy, it doesn't matter what you're learning. As you've learned the edge of something numerous times from different points of view, you see things in a different light. When you're seeing a connection for the first time, you probably don't know what a connection looks like or feels like or can be like. Whereas you put another decade down the road of life, all of a sudden you've got some other ways of measuring what you're feeling, and all of a sudden you come back in touch with that person and you go, oh, that was a connection. Really? Okay. Why didn't I know that before? Because you didn't know what it was.
Yeah, when you're young especially, right? You got no experience in general. You got no relationship experience to even compare it to know how to define it.
I do like this towards the end of the question.
Oh, I want to hear your answer to that.
Also, would you say that TFs who meet in childhood are more likely to reach union within this lifetime? Because of the way this question was presented, I would say yes.
Oh, interesting answer.
Yes, because it sometimes takes people half a lifetime to understand that there was a connection. If you learn about that connection much earlier in your life, it gives you a greater amount of time, especially with those younger formative years, to accept that there is a connection. And then you still got more life yet for that connection to have more time, more opportunity, to have a chance to actually come to fruition. So yes, when you learn about a connection when you're in middle school, it's far more likely to have the time to grow, mature, develop, and have opportunities to come to union than if you learn about a connection when you're both in your mid-70s and it's a 15-year section or 15 years of learning that sometimes it takes to figure out that a connection is really real. People just don't live that long.
I'm going to totally disagree.
Okay.
I don't think age or how young you meet or when you meet, how long you've known the person has anything to do with coming into union or not. In my opinion, union is totally dependent on the one soul and the decision it has made, as in the two of you, before you incarnated. Some people have made the decision before incarnation, some souls have made the decision before incarnating that they're going to come, they're going to meet, they're going to activate each other, they're going to trigger each other, they're going to help each other grow and heal, but union isn't part of their journey, and they've decided that ahead of time. Whereas other people have decided it is going to be part of their human experience to have union. But I don't think age or how long you've known, or when you first met, has really a lot to do with that. I mean, I know people that didn't meet until they were in their 50s and they're in union. So I don't know if that's something that you can base it on. Is, okay, because we've met super young, we're going to be in union. I'd be careful of that.
Boy, this is going to be difficult for me to describe. But I have two visions in my mind. But before I describe these visions, boy, this could take a little time.
Oh no.
I'm going to try to make this quick. Good luck.
Good luck.
Let's go back and just, there's a principle in life where you may have up to 7 exit points. Now that would be 7 death points.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I believe that those points are either used or not, depending upon how close you cross over those opportunities to exit. Sometimes you might get right to the precipice and still avoid it. Other times you get so close that you're drawn into it. With that thought in mind, when it comes to age, I'm really just going to try to push this one.
Okay, you can push it.
You can have something in a life path that looks like strands of DNA because they are real. Or you can have a different vision of a tree with multiple branches going out, where branches, when you look at them, they appear to cross each other. Now sometimes, here I go with an analogy. If you're a squirrel running on that tree, or if you're a bit of energy running up through that DNA, as it crosses, if it makes a spark, it makes a decision point. Or if you're a squirrel jumping from branch to branch because the branches are close enough to jump to, it's another decision point. Sometimes a decision is to stay away, so the squirrel and in that tree stays away from being able to jump over to that branch. And on other times there's other opportunities further up those branches as you see them spreading out through the tree to still make a leap across. It seems very, very close in the paths of nature that opportunities come together and then they separate, and then they come together and then they separate. And if you want to be linear about it, if there's more time, especially in I'm going to use that term again, the formative years, there's more opportunity to make those leaps between those branches, to have the opportunity to have learned more about it, to know when to leap and not to leap, or maybe just for someone to settle down enough that they can even make that decision to leap back and forth. So each time you leap back and forth between a branch, there's an opportunity to have a difference in the connection. So going back to my nature roots, because paths have opportunities that come together and then separate and then come together and separate based upon various learnings and decisions, the more chance to have those crossings, the more chance there's going to be an outcome that could be union.
Well, I think people would like your answer better than mine. I'll say that.
I listen to
it's much more hopeful.
I listen to your answer with a smile on my face because there's many people that your answer it completely applies to.
Well, and the fact is, though, like I've known people that have had a longer separation than us. So they could say, well, why am I not in union? And there's I can't answer that other than because it's a soul decision. It's not a human decision.
And yes, maybe for some people it would be. Where, yeah, you're going to know about each other, but this is not your incarnation to be together. It's, for many people, that may have been decided. You just never know whether you're one of those people or not. Until you either get into union or you die. Oh, how's that?
That sounds hopeful.
Yeah, I see. I just shot all my hope right out the window. Blam.
Wow, thank God there's one more question because we can't leave it on that.
No,
you get into
we
union
can't.
or you die. Merry Christmas.
No.
Dear.
I like the opportunity of youth. I don't look back longing at youth, wishing to be young again. But for the youth of the world, whatever their challenges or opportunities are, I still really enjoy watching all that hope. So, yeah, discovering your and accepting that you're a TF.
And what about the people that only met their twin flame in their 40s? Now they got no hope. Now they're like, great, so it's never going to happen for me.
They still have all the life experience and ability to at least understand right out the get-go that they have that special spiritual connection. They've already got some mirroring as their background, so they too are not missing out on the acceleration of time.
Agree. And I don't... the whole thing of a soul and 5D and other things that I can't think about or that I can't remember right now is the fact that there is no time. In the big expansion of the universe, there really is no time. Everything is now. So it doesn't matter how long you've known your twin flame or how old you were when you met. I still stick with that. Yes.
I'm good with that too.
A soul is a soul is a soul, and it knows its path, and it doesn't need a certain amount of time to get there. It can get there in an instant. If it's decided that's its path this lifetime.
This is one of these questions that if you were sitting around with a group of 10 people,
No.
a group
That's
of
one
10
of those
people,
workshop questions.
it is because each person that throws in their own angle to this, then everything that's been said could be rehashed in a slightly different direction for that person. Then the next person comes along and throws in their angle from how the experience has treated them.
Yeah.
And everything can get rebent again saying, well, that is similar and it applies that way. It would just keep going around and you'd end up with just so much variation, but so much knowledge. It's a great conversation question.
Yeah. And really, I don't think there's a right answer or a wrong answer because everybody's opinions matter, right? And everybody's opinions count. So, I don't know. But it's not often we are on totally separate camps, so it's kind of fun. It's actually a fun question to answer.
You know, the number of times we end up with, well, I think the answer is yes. I think the answer is no. The number that it happens to us often.
Oh, I was going to say not very often.
Well, you'd have to go back and check our videos. I'd say once every couple of videos, we've got something where we're just, I see it my way, you see it yours. It's what we've learned. And that's why it's so fun. It's because when you've learned to validate somebody else's learning, then you get to also accept it as your own, even though you might like some other learning a little better. You can still accept that the other one is a possibility.
Fair enough.
Last question.
Last question, yes.
I can't tell but directly using the font, but it might be the longest of the questions.
It might be. Yeah, sometimes when I copy and paste them, they don't all end up at the same font.
Yeah, sometimes they're really small. Sometimes they're really big.
All right, carry on. Our computer battery is at 39%.
Oh.
I don't know what our time is at because...
We didn't put that up on the screen, did we?
No. And because we had our family picture with the dog before we actually started the video. So we'll just take a piece of the video and take a screenshot of it as our yearly Christmas picture.
I don't know how much of the beginning of this is really going to make it onto the video.
Oh, well, there's going to be a bit. And then we tried 3 times to start the video again.
Don't count that. I think it was more than 3.
Okay, it might have been 4.
It might have been 4. Might have been 4.
We might put those out as a blooper if I feel so inclined because they were kind of funny.
Maybe we'll just leave them in. Call it our Christmas attempt blooper at getting started. Oh, there was just so much at the beginning of our video.
Yeah.
Okay, are we ready?
Yes, we are.
I briefly dated a man who I undoubtedly have a soul connection with. It ended partly because of conflicting viewpoints of the state of the world now.
We all know what that state is.
What
It
I'm
doesn't need to be spoken.
What I'm wrestling with is that this connection I feel with this man has seemed to have stepped in for my connection with my twin. Oh, very interesting.
That is not uncommon, especially right now. That's happening a lot for people.
You have to explain that one to me. I'm not familiar with this.
If the twin is kind of like gone on their own path and they've sort of forgotten what they're here to do, they've lost their way, another one can step in and sort of play that role to help you grow. Some people have
surrogate twin.
Sure.
Surrogate twin.
You might be the only person that's named it that, but I like it. I like it.
What have I done?
Now, dear God, now we have true twins and false twins and that other video we were going to do. No wonder maybe we haven't done that video yet because surrogate twins are going to be in there too. See, Spirit hasn't guided us to do that yet because now you've just added a whole new...
I feel like leaving now. I've just ruined us.
Yes, you should leave now.
No.
I have an itchy nose tonight. I'm going to kiss a fool, I guess.
Watch out for zaps. Uriel day.
Okay, don't even go there. We got to focus on the question. Dear God.
Okay.
Last question. Hang in there. We can do it.
We've just finished tangenting and then tangenting on the tangent.
Totally.
I am not really feeling my twin anymore since this guy came into the picture. And after 8 years on the path, it is so confusing. See, you can be on path 8 years and still be confused.
Totally.
My relationship with him seems to have played out much like a twin flame because of significant parallels, similar interests, and deeply relating to each other. And now the brief bubble and separation stage. I am feeling kind of foolish because I can't stop thinking about him. I wonder about him and how he's doing, and I feel him. I've worked very hard at becoming whole. I left a very long karmic relationship, and working tirelessly has been more structured, healthy, and mature. And I can't seem to 100% let this guy go after almost 2 months. While our dating time together was only about a month, I just need some perspective, as I can't see the bigger picture of this. And quite frankly, I need some relief. I don't want another 5D relationship that can't be realized on Earth, much less another twin flame-like journey.
Yes.
Twin flames, soulmates, twin souls, Blu-ray twin flames. There is so many different opportunities for so many different, very spiritually based relationships. Boy, some people would love to have the opportunity to, if their twin flame relationship didn't work out, to have a Blu-ray twin flame. Or even, there's so many people that are just ecstatic to have realized that they have a soulmate that they can spend time with in their life. I'm not saying that this is a blessing. This is almost like putting more edges on the sword. You talk about a double-edged sword. Now there's many ways that you can have relationships that can really hurt if it just doesn't go right, or if you don't want it and it still refuses to go. That can also hurt. Each one of these spiritual relationships, I feel, is an opportunity, but is the opportunity worth the risk/cost? That to me is almost a basic question. Yes, this second person is an opportunity. Could even be a blessing. And there's so much risk to it. Much like your first karmic relationship. There was something to be learned there too, but when that relationship ended, I'm sure it didn't feel pretty. So, does a person just choose one relationship and hope that that's the one that they get to grow off of? Or do they take each relationship that comes along and allow it to play through so that each relationship has had a maximum opportunity to learn from?
Yes.
That is the question. What is the risk that you're willing to accept? And do you have to make that decision in a hurry? Or can you dwell on it for a few months and still have the opportunity? I think dwelling on it could be valuable because really not every opportunity is worth its price. Maybe if you're tired, you're exhausted, or just don't want it anymore, why would you want to inflict that on yourself if you had a chance to think about it for a while and make the decision to just stay away? There's so much to think about in this. But the basis of what I'm trying to say here is that to have multiple opportunities for deep, meaningful, soulful relationships likely is a blessing.
Yes. And that's exactly where I was going to go is sometimes we want to define every relationship and put it in a category of, is it like another twin flame? Is it a karmic? Is it a whatever, a false twin? What did you call it now? What's the new term?
I forget already.
A surrogate.
Surrogate
twin.
Surrogate twin.
I will laugh so hard if that ends up all over the internet.
Surrogate twin.
I think it's more important to just take every relationship as it comes and know that on a soul level, and I'm sorry I talk about soul level so much, but that's just my perspective. Again, being the 5D twin, the spiritual twin, that's the perspective I come from. But I often see everything from that bigger realm, that on a soul level, we choose these experiences. And we choose them not to define them, but to have them for our growth and for the other person's growth as well. We always agree and have contracts and agreements with souls before we incarnate of, okay, you're going to play this role for me and you're going to help me with this and I'm going to help you with that. And so if we can just see a relationship as that and don't worry about, oh my God, is this now like another twin flame kind of relationship, or what the hell do I do with this? Go ahead, bleep.
Bleep.
Thank you. Just let it be what it is. Get the growth from it. Get the experience from it. And then allow it to go where it goes. If it goes nowhere and now this person's gone and now you have to move on again, then so be it. But I do understand the frustration. I'm not wanting to make light of it. I do understand the frustration of, okay, now this is another person that I can't stop thinking of. This is another person that I feel. And it's like a twin flame because I have that connection. I have that deep soul connection. But the fact is we can have that with more than one person. I have had others in my life that I've had those connections with. They weren't as intense as they were with Rob, but I still did have that, where it took time and there was even telepathy and other things. And so
I'd like to chime in and agree that I've had other relationships that have had immensely valuable facets to them.
Yes.
Sometimes when I'm missing answers, I'm not afraid to go back to what I call conventional wisdom. And boy, when I say that I have favorite sayings, I probably have 30 different favorite sayings, but I can barely remember them unless their situation comes up. And what this question has reminded me of is something that was learned, or maybe worded, I don't know, was it 300 years ago, 600 years ago, 1,000 years ago? And it has endured through the ages because it's so true. And that saying is, people come into your life often for either a reason, a season, or a lifetime.
Yes.
And that is because there's so many people that come through a person's life that you could literally take almost everybody and put them into those categories. And those categories were defined by someone's wise words, but it has endured as a saying because it is so true. So you can have numerous people that are come into your life to teach you something, as an example. Numerous seasoned people, the relationships along the way. And then there's people, either friends or relationship, that are in your life for a lifetime. So to say that you can't have numerous seasoned people would also mean that you couldn't have numerous lifetime people or numerous reason people. So I expect in my life to have numerous people in each of those categories. And I have.
Yep.
So, yeah, having seasonal people is a relatively normal part of life. So normal that a famous saying came from it.
Yeah, so, and who knows, because this question was answered a while ago, you might have worked through some of that and have some more peace about it now. I hope that's the case. But if not, you can also ask them, like in meditation. I know this person, so I know they meditate. I know they're very 5D connected. So what I might suggest is, if you're still feeling them and if you're still having that attachment, is do a meditation and ask them, like, what was your intention of coming here? Can we get the lesson, get the experience, and move on? Either come back into my life or please release me so that I can move on with my next piece of journey, and just see where that goes. You might not get relief right away because there might still be learning in all of the discomfort of, thinking of them and feeling them and all of that. There might be some still purpose to all of that, but doesn't mean you can't ask.
And I don't know why I'm stuck on mirrors tonight. I'm really...
Probably because we have them all over our house.
Yeah, we've gained some mirrors in our house.
Yes, we have. We've been very guided to mirror up our house.
I would say that 97% of the population doesn't have as many mirrors in their house as what we have in ours.
Well, not yet. We got 3 more coming.
Oh.
They should be ready in the next day or 2.
But this person that you just can't seem to let go of in this question, they may have laid down a mirror in your life, but that mirror is in darkness. And a future relationship could come along that'll all of a sudden throw that mirror into light. And you'll all of a sudden understand the meaning of this relationship that you can't seem to have let go of. But you've already got a respect for. That would be because your soul already knows that this relationship was valuable, and you're feeling that, not really wanting to let go of it because it is of value. You just don't understand the value yet. So sometimes when a person's in your life for a season, you're not learning during that season directly. It's set the foundation for future learning. And then when you do that future learning, then you look back and understand that the season existed.
Good insight. And we're going to end on Rob's brilliantness.
It's just a feeling for me.
Before we end, though, I wanted to just comment in terms of the holidays, whether you celebrate Christmas or Yule or Hanukkah or whatever else that I haven't listed. I know this time of year is so hard for some people. I mean, it's hard for some people in general, but especially as twin flames, because you're like, oh, I want my twin flame to reach out, and what if they don't? And there's so much anxiousness, and if I can just say, be in the moment, be in the spirit of the holiday, and let go of those expectations if you can. Because if your twin doesn't reach out, it doesn't mean they don't care. It doesn't mean you're not connected. It doesn't mean that union is hopeless. There's lots of other dynamics. Rob has been reading our old texts as part of writing the book that I'll say he is writing, because I haven't done anything for it yet. And it's been fun for him to read our texts and go, wow, like I reached out here or I didn't reach out here. And, you know, it's so fun now to be able to talk about these things and share the experiences of, you know, the anxiousness I had one New Year's Eve. I couldn't get him off my mind. And then he did text me and I was like, oh my God, like, what do I do with this? He texted me. But also the anxiousness of when he didn't text me. But in the big scheme of things, does it make a difference? We're together. So did I need to suffer through all of that anxiousness and stress and distress? No. So if I can just give my own experience and just say, be in the moment, be in the joy, and don't let it be ruined if your twin flame contacts you or doesn't contact you. It doesn't define your future with them. It's just a day.
If your twin flame contacts you, that at least means they care enough to be in contact. It's a little, dangerous is the wrong word, but it's the only word I got in my mind. It's a little dangerous to overstate or put too much value in that contact. They're probably just trying to make sure that there's still some contact available.
And if they're not contacting you, though, it doesn't mean that they're not interested or they're not thinking about you. Sometimes they don't contact you specifically because it's like, oh, I can't show them, like, this is such a significant day. I can't text them today because then they're going to read too much into it. Or they might be feeling their own feelings of vulnerability or insecurity, or, you know, what if they reject me? What if they don't respond back? So I'm not going to communicate with them. You know, like, there's so many dynamics going on. So I'm just like, give them the benefit of the doubt, no matter if they communicate with you or not.
I like to throw in the one where they don't communicate. How about this? A lot of people have time off, and sometimes they're already in another relationship, and it's just too darn difficult
That too.
when they're hanging out with their significant of the present and
Significant of the present.
oh boy. And the two kids and the dog and the cat. Oh yeah, and Uncle Joe comes over too. They just don't have time to communicate. Yeah. There's a lot of that happens too.
So yes, my wish, my hope, my prayer is that you can just enjoy this season without all the stress of twin flameness. Because it doesn't make it any better. It really doesn't. I've been through a lot of miserable Christmases because of missing him. And was it necessary? No. You're here now? That's all that counts?
Per.
So we wish you a very happy Christmas holiday season, whatever you celebrate or don't celebrate. That is completely fine too.
I'll just step forward and say Happy New Year.
Sure, except we'll hopefully do a video before then. Yes, you're going to get like 2 in hopefully a week. That might be too much commitment. We'll try.
I'm still going to say Happy New Year because if it doesn't happen, just like it doesn't mean that your twin doesn't love you. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't mean we don't love you.
Fair enough.
Because we do.
Yes,
we love you.
Yes, we love you very much. Thank you for your questions. And we will be back with more, hopefully very, very soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.